Bourbon drinkers don't do lines. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Bourbon Note. I'm Greg.
I'm Ben.
And today, we're drinking bourbon. All right, Ben, moving on.
Okay.
What's on the bar?
All right. We've got a new one for us. Bam. This is Wilderness Trail. This is their single barrel bottled and bond wheat mash bill.
So I have seen this on the shelf a time too. I know I don't even, is it from Kentucky?
Yes.
I know absolutely.
Danville, Kentucky.
Danville, the one in Kentucky.
Yep. And these guys it's their product, not sourced.
Nice.
So from what I was able to find out, I think they started.
Sweet mash.
Yep.
Most of them are sour mash.
I think they started in 2012.
Okay.
And they have a 110 proof barrel entry point, so a little bit lower, which is kind of known for giving a little boost to flavor and stuff.
Yeah.
So this is bottled and bond, so it's at least 4 years. But I think from what I read, they're kind of putting this stuff out around 5.
Oh, nice.
So it could be that 4 to 5. I don't know exactly. So we have not had anything from their distillery, and I've been meaning to for a while actually, because I've heard really good things about them.
I'm getting a ton of smell, like just from open the bottle, and I never get that. So I notice this way more than everything else.
So now this isn't the end all be all that really matters to what's inside the bottle, but I love it when a place takes pride in their bottle. This is a great bottle.
It is.
I mean, that's just an awesome bourbon bottle.
It's a good looking bottle. Yep.
It's heavy, and it's just, I don't know, it's got a cool kind of, looks good on the shelf, but it's kind of old-timey, like old-timey saloon.
A little bit old-timey and a bit unique compared to everything else.
Yeah, it's really cool. They got this cool wooden cork with the logo on it. So
approximate price?
This one was $55.
Okay.
And then they have a non-wheated one, just the regular high rye, that is a small batch, and that one runs about 50. So
okay.
It was a choice between that one or this one, because I was only buying one bottle, and I didn't even mean to buy a bottle. I just couldn't help myself, and found myself in a liquor store, and I was like, I'll pick something up. So I was like, let's pull the trigger on this Wilderness Trail and
nice.
Give it a shot. Wow, there's a ton jumping out of the glass. Like you said, when you open this, you can smell it. Like
smell it right away. It's noticeable.
Yeah, and it's great. It's got a great nose to it.
It's got a nice, bright, sweet caramel note.
Yeah. It's got those nice wheat notes.
Yeah, I'm really curious where this is going to go flavor-wise, and I think we may have to pull in a second bourbon to compare.
Could be.
Lots of weeder choices to think about.
This has those great, like wood sugar sort of spice. It does have a little like extra spice to it.
It does. I don't remember.
I like that.
I wasn't listening. What did you say the price?
It's bottled and bond. Baking spices.
You didn't say it, so.
I believe I did.
Well, you said bottled and bond. You didn't say 100 proof.
Oh. Do I need to at this point, Greg?
I probably should have. You know, this is another thing. This is a yellow label. I don't know why, but I always associate bottled and bond with the color blue.
Really?
I really do. And I know not every bottled and bond is actually in a blue bottle, but for whatever reason.
Now I got to look at bottled and bond bourbons and see how many of them actually have blue.
It's probably 2%.
All right, well, let's give this yellow one a shot here. It's got a ton of flavor to it.
Lots happening.
Yeah, that has a really nice spice to it.
It does have a nice spice. It has a really, I'm gonna have to slow down and think about this. It felt like I get hit with a really big like bit of flavor and then nothing other than maybe ethanol, like alcohol.
Really?
And then it came back on the finish. So I don't know if that's me. This is truly the first pour I've had today. So maybe it's just an anomaly, but.
The sweetness on the nose is very sweet. The nose was actually kind of just general bourbon, but really, really good.
Yeah.
Nice and rich, bold, but not really jumping out in any particular way. I feel like on the palate, there's for the 4 to 5 years that this is supposedly, I feel like there's a nice oak note on this.
Definitely the wood notes are, I think, are really prominent. What my initial impression is, it has several different flavors, but they're not very, like they don't go too far down. Like there's a bit of sweetness, but it doesn't go that far. There's a bit of like pepper note, but it doesn't go that far.
Right.
There's a caramely kind of like creaminess, but it doesn't go very far. Like, so it kind of hits some interesting notes, but it just is, it's like a hint and like interesting.
Yeah, it has, well, there's something going on there that I'm just having a hard time putting my finger on.
Me too. It's
like you said, it's got all these
hinting.
notes.
It's hinting at it.
Yeah, it's got all these notes, and like I totally agree with you. They're not going overboard. They're just kind of there nicely. But there's this dominant note on top of it. That
So I think
getting
that's
that
the
oak
wood.
spice,
The wood, the oak spice, is the one really kind of home run
which
hitter.
is interesting. I wouldn't expect that. But at a lower entry proof, you may be picking up some more of that oak.
Yep. I'm guessing a really well charred barrel.
I have a theory that I'm working on
Okay.
that I just came up with today when I was thinking about.
When you're done with that,
sampling
can you
this.
talk about the bourbon, please?
Yeah, this is going to be something totally different. I'm going to get into politics and religion.
Yeah,
for a minute here,
that's a
just
good
to-
idea. Yeah.
No, I was kind of wondering. We've had a handful of bourbons that.
Bourbon in a handful is the.
Yeah.
It's a poor mechanism to hold bourbon.
We've had some that are maybe a little bit on the younger side, or maybe a craft distillery side, where they're pushing them out before they can age them as long as some of the bigger guys can.
Sure.
And there's been a lot of them that I've actually been really surprised at how much good flavor there is.
Agreed.
And even if there is a little bit of youth, now I'm not really getting youth off of this one, but
Nope.
even if there's a little bit of that youthy grain note that I'm normally not a fan of, in some bourbons I find it really works.
Yes.
And I was thinking about it, and the common thread between those was the wheat. I think I really get that with wheaters. Like I almost wonder if maybe a wheated bourbon maybe just can handle a little less time in the barrel better than, or maybe just for my taste, my
Sure,
individual,
sure. Yep.
my preference. But yeah, I was kind of thinking about that some of the younger ones that we've had that we were kind of surprised by the flavor of them.
Tend to be wheaters.
Yeah. And I could go back and maybe relook through all of our stuff and find that maybe that balance is not quite as much. But the ones I can think of, I really recall specifically being surprised by a couple, and they were wheaters. This is really good. I'm very surprised by this.
So I think it has a great balance of alcohol and the barrel spice. And it brings right behind that a nice caramel, kind of like richness. But it does fade pretty quick and leads to a ethanol kind of finish.
I was just going to say, it leads to a little bit of a burn on the back end of it. And I don't know if that's just the ethanol or if it's the ethanol and it's that
Maybe a
spice
peppery
that goes.
could be.
It's a little peppery on the finish, which I don't mind.
I don't mind it either, but I think
And I don't mind the alcohol.
maybe and I don't know how you craft a bourbon so that you get really nice finish. And my guess is that's like the $1 million question, and
Sure.
and it takes master distillers decades to figure that out. But that's, I think, what's the mid to finish of this is maybe letting it down is way too strong. I mean, this is really good, and I absolutely love supporting smaller distilleries who are doing interesting things.
And they're doing their own
Yeah, that's awesome.
their own thing. So here's something that I learned also.
Okay.
I watched a video, actually, somebody, My Bourbon Journey YouTube channel, did a distillery tour of this. So I watched that video, so credit there.
Okay.
And the person that was doing the tour said that when they originally started, and so this, I'm guessing, is still, I don't know when this video was made. It was uploaded a year ago. But when they originally started,
That means
they were
it was
using
done 6 months ago.
pot still. Could be. When they originally started, they were using a pot
So
still.
I'm
and then
wondering-
at some point, they switched to a column still. Now, if they're aging this 5 years,
Well, this means that 5 years ago, plus, it would have had to have made that change. I'm wondering if this is a pot still.
and I didn't want to say that at the beginning because I didn't want to
Yep.
sway, because you and I have had some experiences with pot still,
Yeah.
and I'm not getting a,
Not heavy, but a
Yeah.
tiny bit of a hint. This may be a pot still, but I'm guessing totally.
but all in all, I think you were saying before I started talking about that, you were saying like the mid to finish. I almost feel like the mid point drops. So there's this nice flavor at first, then it does drop off, and then after you swallow it, it leaves you. I feel like the finish is a little bit longer, but there's like a break in between almost. Like right when you go to swallow it, it just kind of drops off. But then there's that lasting heat and pepper and oak note, at least that I'm getting.
Yep.
That I actually enjoy. So I really enjoy this. I'm gonna definitely get another, that other one that they have on the shelf.
Sure.
I think I've only seen these two. They have a couple. They've got a rye and they have a 6-year that is out, but I don't think I've seen either one of those. But I always see this one and the small batch, which is their rye mash bill. So I'm definitely gonna pick up a bottle of that. I'm impressed with this. This is one of those bottles where I definitely will not have a hard time drinking my way through it.
You'll find a use for it.
Yep,
But
absolutely.
You mentioned something. You got me thinking.
Okay.
So at some point we want to do a trip to Kentucky to visit some distilleries.
That would be ideal, yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of why we do the channel and we asked for some support. What if we went to Kentucky and we didn't visit the big dogs? Don't go to Maker's Mark because there's going to be a 4-hour line, or I don't know what it is.
Sure.
You know, don't go to Heaven Hill. Not that there's anything wrong with them, and we love their distilleries. But what if we went and we visited places like this?
Yeah.
You know, Old Elk, which is, yes, I know it's in Colorado, but you know,
Just
the small,
swing over to Colorado.
Well, yeah,
from
I mean, it's
Kentucky.
kind of on the way.
Yeah.
You know, but the littler, smaller distilleries, you know, Rabbit Hole and some of the others,
Sure.
and some of those aren't tiny,
Yeah,
but
that'd be cool.
you know, and I wonder if maybe you could actually get into a bunch of distilleries if you worked a bit and found them and didn't just follow the crowds.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I want to visit all the distilleries and drink all the bourbons.
So if you have visited the Kentucky and have suggestions for distillery visits, besides the big ones that obviously we still want to visit at some point in time.
Absolutely.
I just heard that, you know, the lines are crazy and you have to wait
I had a
forever,
friend that
and-
was just in Louisville, and they said a lot of these places were booked 2 months out.
Yeah,
You
and
just couldn't get in anywhere. They couldn't even get in for a tasting at some places, like in the little entry bar area
Right.
or whatever.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that'd be fun. Or we could just plan our trip out
6 months in
far in advance and then just do all of them.
Well, ask our Patreons. We struggle with planning it in advance.
Yeah, we do. That's true. So, well, this is really good. I'm very impressed, happy with the purchase, and definitely going to be getting that other one. And if I see their other products, I'll pick them up for sure. So, yeah, check this one out. It's good. This has been Wilderness Trail, single barrel bottled and bond on the Bourbon Note. I'm Ben.
I'm Greg. Cheers.